Hi everyone, Sterling Jakewith here with week 5 garages, and I'm excited to start this week. I like doing the garage in the fall. I'm recording this in the fall time, so I think it's just kind of a good time to get in there and clean things up, especially because the leaves are coming and we're going to be raking soon. But before we get into how to tackle the garage, I really want to emphasize that I think this room, more than any other room, should be a team effort. I think you should do this with your spouse. Maybe with or without your kids, that's not as important, but I think at least for the planning stages, your spouse needs to be involved. So if you didn't start with us at the beginning of the challenge and hear me say that you should schedule this with your spouse for this week, then I want you to skip this week or swap it with a different one, or call it a makeup week and tackle something else that we've already covered, or just take a break. But it's really important that you do this particular week with your spouse because it affects both of you so much. And so if your spouse is on board and you've carved out some time, probably on the weekend or maybe after work this week, then this is the conversation that I want you to have. I want you to discuss together, what is the purpose of this space? And that's not to say what have we been using it for up until now, because that may not be what you'd actually like to use this space for. So pretend that there was nothing in the garage and you had this space. What do you want to use this space for? I'm a big fan of actually parking your cars in the garage. I think that that's great for the weather. That's what they were designed for. I think it makes our streets look less cluttered when cars are inside the garage and not in the driveway or along the curb. But, that is completely up to you. Do you want to park one or more of your cars in the garage? Or you may say, we're going to park our cars somewhere else and we're going to use this space as a personal gym. And you may have a combination of purposes for this space. Personal gym is common, storing sports equipment. We have a canoe. My husband hunts, so he has a lot of things around that. We're not really a skiing family yet, so we don't have any of those kind of things. Storing tools and lawn maintenance, that's really common. Your rakes and things like that. We have a lot of saws for our business, and so we keep those in there as well. Some people may choose to finish the space off. You may partially finish it or completely finish it and use it as an office or a playroom or a guest room. I think any of these things are just fine options for what to do with your garage, but I think it's important that you and your husband agree with what is going to be stored there, so you have a plan going forward. Now, if you've been using it for one thing and you're going to shift and use it for something else, then make a plan to evolve to that, right? You're not going to go from, we've stored 1,600 boxes of stuff in the garage, but we'd like it to be a finished guest room. Let's do that in a weekend, right? Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to have to take baby steps to transition the purpose of that space. But above all, you need to at least know what the space is going to be for before you dive in. So as I explain how we're going to tackle the garage, I'm actually going to read from my book, just because, I don't know, it says it the best here, and I haven't memorized this particular section because I don't spend a lot of time in the garage. It is largely my husband's domain. He's kind of the one that organizes the garage. So he will say, how much space do you need for your Christmas totes? I think I have 2 Christmas totes and 1 fall time tote, and I think that's the sum total of my contribution to the garage. And the rest of it is really just kind of his stuff. So in my book, I talk about how important organization is. Again, organization is not the same thing as minimalism. So minimalism is about intentionally choosing what lives in a space. We've done that in the previous step. But now when we talk about organizing, that's when you're really going to want to lean on Google or Pinterest or some of the resources that I linked on my website for managing what you're going to organize and how you're going to organize it. And then another way to go about this, and again, this is in my book, is to organize items, to group them in certain ways. So either to group them by frequently used items, so you'll group things that you touch often, and then you'll group things that you don't touch very often. items that are used together. So I thought that was great. Maybe your pruning shears and your gardening gloves would be in the same place. All of your paint and your painting tools would be in the same place. Bulkier items. So, where are you going to put that canoe or your bicycle? Be thoughtful about that, and maybe either store them in one half of the garage or on the wall or up on the ceiling. I think there's a lot of good ideas around that. Rarely used items. Find a place to put rarely used items, kind of tuck them away in the corner, maybe put them in an attic. Push those out of the way so that they're harder to get to, but that's appropriate because you don't use them very often. Tools and bicycles, keep those things together, and bicycles especially are best if they're hung on the wall or on the ceiling. Ours are hung up so they're not on the ground as well. When you're thinking about storage, I would encourage you not to use cardboard boxes because spiders and mice and water can get into those things. So, if you have all cardboard boxes right now and you're thinking about transitioning to plastic ones, I would put that in my budget. As I embrace minimalism more and more, and I'm increasingly thoughtful about the way that I'm laying things out in my house, that doesn't mean that I suddenly have more money to do what I want. So I will actually put it in my budget item and say I'm going to buy one tote every month or 2 totes until we have enough to swap out cardboard boxes for plastic ones. Okay, but I think plastic ones are great. They have these great garage systems now. Where it's like a storage unit, and then you can actually put in the plastic boxes very easily and store things in a way that makes sense. One of them has 12, which is awesome, so you can kind of store everything you want for each month in the tote. That didn't really work for our garage, but I thought it was a really neat idea, especially for those of you that are really into decorations. So go to the resources links on my website. That's at sterlingjaquith.com/minimalism, and then you click on garage. It's also, you can go straight to sterlingjaquith.com/garage. That's the garage page. But I have a lot of websites there that I thought were very helpful in terms of practical ideas for organizing and decluttering your garage. So I just wanted to leave you with this quote from St. Gregory, because I think as we approach this project, for a lot of us, it's going to feel like climbing a mountain, right? It's this huge job, and we think it'll never end. And I just want to say that's okay. It's okay that doing the garage is something that they may never really end. We may always be tweaking what lives in that space. As our children get older, as our hobbies evolve, it makes sense that the garage would also do that. So St. Gregory says, "He who climbs never stops going from beginning to beginning, through beginnings that have no end. He never stops desiring what he already knows." And I thought that was really beautiful. And I think St. Gregory in this moment is talking about our faith too, and that, we'll never stop growing in our faith. We will never stop having beginnings as we learn more about why we are Catholic. And so, for minimalism, this entire challenge, your house, and then specifically the garage, I think it's okay that it's not something that we wrap up in a weekend. I think when we have expectations that something's going to happen quickly and then it does not happen quickly, we feel really frustrated. But we've kind of manufactured that situation by having the expectation in the first place. And so, I want you to go into this knowing that you want to be thoughtful about your garage, be intentional about what lives in there, but it may take you a long time to create the space that you have in your mind, this expectation that you have. And if you go into it like that, you're going to feel so much more calm, and you're going to feel so much more proud of yourself for what you did accomplish in a weekend because you didn't have an unreasonable expectation at the start. So I'm excited to see your before and after pictures. I think a lot of husbands are going to get involved in this week and go, whoa, what's happening? What's this minimalism challenge all about? And I think some really good conversations are going to come out of that. So I will pray for you and your marriage as you approach garage this week, and I will snap some pictures of mine along the way as well. So thank you so much for participating in the Catholic Minimalism Challenge, and have a blessed week.